Ajayi. You're a Calgary community advocate and a passionate citizen of this beautiful community called Mokinstis. On October 20th, Calgarians will head into the polls to elect a new mayor. And that is why I want to bring you up close and personal to individuals running for this office. We've been privileged to have amazing individuals running for the number one position of this city to be mayor. And today, without exception, I've got an amazing gentleman in the house by the name of Thiessen. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here today. I know election is coming soon, and we're just going to go right into these questions because I believe Calgarians need to know who is running for this office and why you're running. And that is my first question, that why are you running for the mayor of Calgary now?
Well, there's both personal and political. So I'll start with the political. I'm a seasoned leader with a lot of experience in building teams. I've got 30 years as an employment lawyer advising top organizations. So when I see the dysfunction at City Hall, I think I can build teams that can solve that problem. I'm very focused on public safety, transit, housing, and critical infrastructure. But on the personal side, you know, I applied for law school at University of Calgary 30 years ago. And you have to write an essay when you apply to University of Calgary on why you want a law degree. And mine was all about public service. I really wanted to engage in learning about the law and how I could improve society. And so I made a best friend there named Kevin Weiler, and in first year in my summer I met Chima Nakemdram, and the three of us went out and we worked in politics for 30 years. I volunteered on people's campaigns, I served as legal advisor, and one day we were planning that I would run. And as life happens, I started a family, had a long, successful legal career, and worked my way up to managing partner of a national law firm. And last year, my best friend Kevin Weiler passed away. Wow. And when I lost Kevin, I thought a lot about, you know, as the Romans say, enjoy the hour, it's later than you think. And it made me stop and think about my life and what my dream was. And I went and talked to my family, and my law firm asked me to renew for a third term as managing partner. And I said, no, I'm going to resign and pursue my dream of public service. And so that's what I did. I stepped down as managing partner, and I decided to give back to my community and engage in public service and honor the friendship of my best friend.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Now let's go to your vision for Calgary. If elected, what would your top priority be on day one, and how will you achieve it?
Yeah, so my vision for Calgary is to make it the best place in the world to work, live, and play. And my top priorities are public safety and housing. And so on day one, we've actually written a public safety toolkit and a housing toolkit with the Calgary Party. So you can go to our website, you can see our detailed policies. We have a plan to streamline housing, to eliminate red tape and make it easier for housing, for house builders to build the houses we need for 100,000 people coming to Calgary every year. We're growing, we're 1.7 million, we'll be 2 million people in the next few years. So on day one, we're going to eliminate red tape, do a regulatory review, make it simpler to build housing. On public safety, we are focused on three areas: housing first strategy, make sure that we build housing for those that are unhoused and homeless. Finland did it. It is both the compassionate thing to do, and it also saves money. They track the costs, and when you reduce the impacts on healthcare and the justice system, we figure we'll save about $100,000 per person per year by providing housing for the unhoused. And then 24/7 mental health and addiction supports, working with the Calgary Police Service and Calgary Transit Police, and House Together. And I met with the 30 mental health and addiction agencies, 30 of them that work in the downtown area, from Alpha House to the Alex to Simon House. And they agree with our priorities of housing first. And I met with Calgary Police Service, and they said to me, Brian, not only do you have the right strategy, we worked on it for 4 years and this council has not funded it. It's called Reach Up. We tested it. It's ready to roll out. So when you ask me what I'll do on day one, Calgary Police Service tells me they're ready to roll out an integrated 24/7 mental health and addiction unit on day one if the Calgary Party is elected.
Amazing, amazing, and bold ambition. Now, while you're talking, you mentioned something based on data that's, been written or like been verified that 100,000 individuals coming to Calgary, annual basis, they come in, and there's a growing number of multicultural individuals from every part of the world choosing to make Calgary a home. And Calgary is one of the first ranked city to live, in the world. So that leads me to the next question about the diversity of our community. That how will you ensure all voices are heard in your decision making?
Yeah, this is a real question that's near and dear to my heart. When I graduated from business school, in the year between business school and law school, I worked at the Center for Newcomers, and I helped teach business courses to new immigrants to Canada who wanted to start their own business. And I learned a lot about how well educated the communities were, how much people had sacrificed to bring their families here. So it's really important to me. I think probably the best illustration of how I would do this is my work when I was chair of the Calgary Police Commission. We had a community outreach dinner where we would have thousands of people out, tables of leaders from each of the communities, and senior officers and Calgary Police Commission members sitting with those community leaders and engaging with them. I think it's really important to have that kind of dialogue with community members. The other thing I did was I looked around the table and I saw a lot of white men. And so I realized if the Calgary Police Commission was going to insist on more diversity in the service, we had to reflect that. And so by the time I left as chair of the commission, we were a majority women and diverse members. Wow. We had our first Indigenous female member of the commission, and my successor was a woman. And I think it's really important to lead by example, to invite people to the table. And then the last thing we did was we tried to always remember who wasn't at the table, despite our best efforts, and think about them when we were making decisions about policing. So I propose to do much the same thing as mayor. Invite people to the table. You can see it. We have 14 councillor candidates. 6 of them are women. 9 of them are diverse. And so we've built a team that reflects the diversity of Calgary. We have from the Jewish community, Muslim community, Hindu community, Indian community. So we have people representing the diversity of Calgary in our Calgary Party Council candidates. So I think we're already demonstrating from day one our commitment to bringing communities into city leadership. And I'm really passionate about ensuring that continues to happen.
Amazing. I like what you said, that when you're at the table, you are more important about asking who is not on the table.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the best ways in which a leader can, think and to be inclusive. Now, I'm an artist. I paint, I do music, I do events, do festivals. And artists always, they are people of vision, men of vision. So I want you to take on a cap of an artist by painting for us a picture of Calgary in the next 10 years. That I see Calgary what do you see in the next 10 years of Calgary?
Yeah, so, I talk a lot about my vision for Calgary being the best place in the world to work, live, and play. And what that means to me when I look at Calgary is I want to have a vibrant arts and culture community. So we're really good at building large projects like the Arts Commons and the Convention Center. Those are really important. But if you look at the Calgary Party's arts and culture policy, what we're focused on now is how do we provide operational funds for that vibrant arts and culture community to thrive while we're renovating major venues? Because too often we don't provide the operational needs. So vibrant arts and culture scene, world-class transit, the Green Line having been built underground downtown and moving up to the north. I see a safe place where people feel safe on the streets, and they kind of look back on things like 30 years ago or 10 years ago, there was the water main failed, and we couldn't have showers in the summer. And, I summarize a bit of that by saying we have this vibrant, amazing recreational arts and culture scene, world-class transit, housing for everyone. But we've also succeeded, if I've done my job, in making city council boring again. So people aren't thinking about things like water mains because we've stopped losing 22% of our water leaking into the ground. So if we fix the potholes and the water mains, then people can stop worrying about council and live in this amazing city and enjoy it.
Cool. Now, going to the critical section, the third segment, because we've got about 5 segments in the old question. We've done 2. Now, the third one is on the critical issues. And while you were talking, you've mentioned that I can see that is part of your passion on the issue of affordable housing, which is a growing challenge in Calgary. And what's your plan to ensure Calgarians can afford to live here?
Yeah, so on affordability for housing, there's 2 major parts. So we have our housing toolkit. So you can read it online. It's 7 pages. It's detailed. We worked really hard with stakeholders and communities to figure out what people needed. But in a nutshell, our housing strategy is really focused on everything from social housing, affordable housing, to across the spectrum, because people move up and they decide to rent and they decide to own their first home. Yeah. So it's really focused on making housing a priority in every decision at City Hall. So as we're building utilities, we're thinking about the sewer, water, et cetera, that you need to build housing. When we talk about a regulatory review, it's gradually built up where it takes 18 to 24 months to get a house building permit. We've proposed a 3-3-3-1 strategy. 3 days for a housing renovation, 3 weeks for a house permit if it fits within zoning, 3 months for a larger scale project, et cetera. And the default to that is if City Hall is in the way and isn't getting their job done, it's default approved. So we want to put the incentive for City Hall to move at the speed of business. And speaking of small businesses, as we're doing all that, putting yourself in the shoes of someone who scrapes together enough money to build a fourplex or a duplex on a property that, 18-month and 24-month delays may lead to their bankruptcy. So thinking about if we move and we speed up that process and we make it easier to build houses, we keep the businesses alive that build those houses, and we produce the homes needed for the 100,000 people coming every year to Calgary.
Cool. Now, on public safety, it's also a concern that is on the rise. What's your approach to addressing crime while fostering community trust?
So, again, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart as former chair of the police commission. And what I would say is, if you look at our public safety strategy, we really took the downtown safety table report, and it had 28 recommendations. And we asked mental health and addiction agencies and the police service and transit police what their focus would be. And we're focused on housing, 24/7 help teams integrated and housed with the Calgary Police Service and Transit Police. So those are our top 3 priorities.
Yeah. Cool. We're going to leadership and collaboration. Now, we've got different party system, both federal, municipal, provincial, and which is also not a bad thing in any way. Now, the question is, how will you work with provincial or federal government to secure resources that Calgary deserve?
Yeah, so, in my experience working as chair of the police commission and as managing partner of a law firm, I built relationships. That's what I had to do. And so, for example, people don't realize that the chair of the Calgary Police Commission budget approval comes from the city, but you report to the provincial justice minister. And so I had the opportunity to work with an NDP justice minister and a UCP justice minister. So what I learned from that was I was able to speak the language of each party, and I worked equally well with both types of provincial government. And I think that's important because I have the skills to alter my communication, to learn how to collaborate with both types of government, no matter who's in the chair at the provincial level. I have 30 years of experience working with the federal government and developing those relationships. I meet with provincial ministers when they come through town to talk about tourism and transit, because what I've learned in my jobs is that you have to start by building a relationship, learning what their priorities are, speaking to those priorities, and then remembering at all times that the same people pay all our salaries. If I have the privilege of being elected, we all serve the same public. And so we owe it to the public to work together.
Yes, cool. Like that. Now, we're going to go to your personal connection with Calgary. What is one favorite thing of yours, that you like, or your favorite thing about Calgary, the one you never change?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Calgary is how we take care of our neighbors. It's a meritocracy, it's entrepreneurial, but you see it at times, whether it was the '88 Olympics and all the volunteers that came out, which, the Olympic Committee had never seen before. And they tried to duplicate it for years after, because tens of thousands of Calgarians came out and volunteered their time. Or the 2013 floods, when, hundreds of neighbors just showed up at people's homes to shovel out their basements and pitch in together. And I think there's just something special in the water in Calgary about how we welcome people and how we look out for one another. And I would never want that to change. And I think as a leader, I'd want to make sure we cherish that and we stoke it, because I think it's our superpower.
Yeah, it's our superpower, welcoming our neighbors, because I remember talking to someone that said, you can either be your brother's killer or your brother's keeper. Basically, he said that if you're not keeping your brother, you're killing your brothers. Outside of politics, what is your passion?
Yeah, so I'm passionate about fly fishing and nature and enjoying nature. And I think Calgary is just this remarkable playground that we live, we sometimes forget we have this remarkable backyard that we all get to play in every day. And you can walk into the Bow River in the middle of downtown, and there's world-class fishing. So for me, it's a bit nerdy, but I enjoy that. But I love that you can go rafting. I love that you can get to the mountains in 45 minutes and go on a hike. I think that's really important for recharging. I think that it's important to be grounded. I was raised Mennonite, and in the Mennonite community, leadership is considered a servant role. And so I believe in servant leadership. And, it's becoming kind of a rage now. Harvard, Business School publishes articles on it. But really what I was brought up to believe was that the community asked you to lead. You didn't seek it for statues or grandeur. You did it as a service role. And if you, as my grandma would say, if you got too big for your britches, then they got rid of you. And so, this wonderful setting and this environment, I think, shapes a little bit of my view of the world and how I was raised. I really see it as a public service and a way to give back to my community. And I think it's a real opportunity, an amazing opportunity, but it's not about me. It's about giving back to my community, and I hope I have the privilege of doing that.
Cool. Now, here's a question that I want you to face the camera.
Sure.
The question is, finish this sentence. Calgarians should vote for me because...
I am a proven leader with 30 years of experience. I believe in servant leadership, and I will work my butt off to make Calgary the best place in the world to live, work, and play.
And Calgarians will hold you to that promise if elected, into the office. Here is where we draw the curtain of today's episode of this interview with Thiessen. On September 15, 2025, I would like to invite you for a town hall debate where all these candidates are coming together, to share their vision. in a town hall setting where you, audience, can participate. But guess what? You need to go and register. It is free for every individual. Go to ethnicfestival.com and register to be part of the debate on September 15, 2025 at the Central Library in downtown Calgary. Now, before we go, Brian, any last word for our audience?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to run for mayor. I'd be privileged and honored if you gave me the chance to serve as mayor.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Bye for now.